Hello everybody and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some really cute little mini Easter egg earrings. So the technique that we're going to be using today is called three-dimensional beading. It's a form of right angle weave really, where we'll be making lots of little circles that'll all be linked together to help us make some three-dimensional structures. Now I'm going to go through a lot at the very beginning on more or less how you read these patterns, how the process works, how you can make your own patterns as well so that you can create your own cute designs on your Easter eggs if you wanted to. I will also mention a few times over the course of the tutorial that we have a seed bead sale going on at the minute. Today is the 28th of March, 2025. I nearly said 24 still, even in March. We're almost in April, but the sale is on until midnight on the 31st of March. So Monday night, the sale is still going to be going on. Tuesday is when it will be ending. You have until then to get yourself some lovely discount on our seed beads, but every order that includes some seed beads will also get the pattern for making these earrings completely for free. It's quite a involved pattern, really. I've put a lot of effort and time into it. You can get it for free as long as you order some seed beads anytime between now and midnight on Monday. So technically it's a little bit later just to carry on for those of you in like the west coast of the US. So technically it's like 6 a.m. Tuesday. So if you wake up on Tuesday at 3 in the morning in the UK and you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot to buy some beads, you'll still be able to do it. Anyway, right. That's that done. I haven't seen any comments from anyone on Facebook. So if anyone's watching over on Facebook, comment in and say hello, just so I can make sure that the stream is working. Hopefully it is. It looks like it should be, but you never know these days. We have lots of people commenting in, which is great as usual. Before I say my hellos, I'll just show you what the actual earring looks like. It's very cute. Little thing just... Here we go. There it is there. So it's made fully with just like seed beads just here. And the beads that I'm going to be using, I'll tell you all, I'll tell you all about it in a bit. But essentially all you're going to need are some seed beads. You can use any size that you like. And then you need a little ear wire and some beading thread or monofilament. But as I said, I'll tell you more about that in a bit. This is what our little design looks like. You can see it's got that cute little zigzag through the middle. This is what I'm going to show today. I probably should have done something a little simpler to make it quicker and easier. But hey, it's always fun to show slightly more complex things, I think. So anyway, this is what I'm going to teach you just so that you can make the matching pair of those little earrings there. Good. Someone's commented on Facebook. Welcome to you, Jane, and thank you for letting me know. So let's do some hellos real quick, and then we'll get into the full swing of the process on how to make this, how to read the pattern, how to make your own patterns, all that sort of stuff is about to be covered. So who have we got? We have Eugenia was here. She was first cab off the rank. She said, when do the clocks change in the UK? Do you know what? I actually have no idea. I think is it this Sunday? Next Sunday? I don't know. It's soon. It's very soon, though. We also have Maxine is here. She's watching. Marlena says hello. She's over on YouTube. We have Brandy, who also says hello. Welcome to you, Brandy. Tiffany is here. Thanks for joining us, Tiffany. We have Irina, one of our usuals. I believe she's from Croatia, I think. Smud. I have no idea how you say it. It's like Smudvik or something like that. We have Angelica, who is here from Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us again. We have Betty Bennett. Welcome. Long time no see to Betty Bennett. Thank you for joining us. Eugenia is here. She says, hello, everyone. Jane says, hi, Matthew. Hope you're well. I have a little bit of a cough today, actually. So if I'm, beating along, half dying, just ignore me. I'm sure I'm fine. I'll be fine. Sunday the 30th. So this Sunday is when the clocks change, says Jane. Sunday the 30th, the clocks will be changing. So in 2 weeks' time, it'll be a little bit different timing. Carol is here. We also have Sandra. Yep, she says clocks go forward this Sunday. I thought it was. And then it looks like Jermaine is here as well. She's on board a cruise ship just off the coast of Brazil, I think. or no, maybe Guyana, something like that, somewhere in South America, enjoying her time on the cruise. And Jan is here as well, saying hello to Jermaine. Oh, and me. She said hi to me as well. Bermuda. I was close in Croatia. So yes. Right, first things first, we're going to go through how to make the actual earring pattern. It can be a little daunting at first, so I'm going to explain to you. I'll show you a blank pattern, and you are going to go, what on earth is that? As I said, it can look a little confusing at first, but I'm going to show you the entire process. We're going to break it down. I'm going to explain absolutely everything for you. So, the pattern for making this egg looks like this, which, as I said, when you first see it, you go, oh my goodness, what is that? I've got no idea how on earth this would work. But good thing to tell you, I'm going to explain it all step by step, one by one. I've even got some nice little mini diagrams to help you learn it all. But essentially, the way this pattern works, and I'll zoom in here, you can see we're going to be creating little circles of beads. This is using a 2-needle method on the design just here. And if you have a look, we have one thread, which is labeled in red, and we have a second thread, which is labeled in blue. So basically what we're going to do is follow the path of the threads, and we're going to make these circle shapes. So inside the center of each circle is a number, and the number is the order that we work them. So first things first, we'll make circle 1. Then we're going to attach to circle 1, circle 2. Then we'll do circle 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then once we've done that, we're going to sort of go outwards to number 8, then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And essentially, it's just like a big spiral that just goes outwards and outwards and outwards and outwards until eventually you get all the way out here. Now, the interesting thing is that this central section is the bottom of our egg. So if you have a look, there's 6 little beads just here. That's those 6 little beads at the center bottom of our pattern. Then when you get all the way out to this very, very outer edge, the interesting thing is that those are actually our beads at the very, very top of our pattern. So basically what happens is we start from the inside at the bottom, and just slowly over time we work ups and upwards and upwards and upwards and upwards and upwards until eventually we come and bring it all back to a point at the very, very, very tip. So first things first, I'm going to explain to you a little bit easier with some slightly more simple diagrams how that process works. So first things first, let me just grab, this is the pattern that you'll be getting for free, by the way. So first things first, if we have a look, we're going to split this ginormous pattern into all of its sort of constituent parts. So all of this is about to be split up into individual little things to help you see what we're going to do. So first things first, what we do is create this little central section, and you can see one red thread goes this way, one blue thread goes that way. We start from this little center bead just here, and we cross over at that bead at the very, very top. So essentially we have the beads which go on the left thread, the beads that go on the right thread, and then they cross over to make the first circle. Then, if you have a look, what we want to do, because essentially we're going to be moving around the circle in this sort of shape to make another, almost like a ring or row of circles around the innermost one, we're going to use our blue thread, and the right thread is going to sort of go around to here. The red thread only needs to go to here. They cross over, and that brings us in position to make our next circle. So then this one comes around here, they cross over, and then that's the third circle. Then we're going to use some beads on our right circle. This one uses the, whoops, almost out of shot there. This one uses a bead from one of our earlier circles, and then we cross over just here. Then again, we pick up some beads on our left thread. We pass with our right thread through a bead we've already added, and then we do a crossover. And essentially, as you can see, look, there's a small circle there. Number 3 has a small circle there. 4 has a small circle here, and so on till you get to number 7. Then once you've done number 7, we work outwards. And now this time, instead of, if you have a look, this one was a circle of 6 beads. These ones, that's a 5 bead circle, a 5 bead circle, 5 beads, 5, 5, 5, 5. Then we're going to start working in circles of 4 beads. So you add on the beads and cross over. And just sort of repeat that process of making a 4 bead circle, a 4 bead circle, 4, 4, 4, 4, all the way around until we get to here. And then it just continues sort of like that. We do more 4 bead circles. Then if I find my next diagram, here it is. More 4 bead circles and another row of 4 bead circles. And then that's when it sort of changes. And we'll get to this a bit later on. But anyway, you see the gist of when it's all split like this, that we're just adding an extra ring of beads towards the outside each time. So it starts in the center, and then you do the next ring of circles. Then you do the next ring of circles, then the next. And now we're going to do this one, and then we'll do that one. You know, it continues out, growing, 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 until eventually you have it completed. So now I'm going to show you how you can make little patterns with these. So for example, if you have your ginormous pattern like this, if you wanted to, you could say, hey, do you know what? I'm going to make myself a little pattern. I'm going to start coloring in some of these beads. So to save the time, I mean, essentially what you can do is grab yourself a pen or some pencils and start coloring in and say, yeah, I want to make this bead have this color, and I want this one to have this color and whatever. But to speed that up, and this is also included in your pattern, you get a colored chart just here, which is the one for making this design here. So if you have a look, see that little circle there of tealy colored beads? That's this innermost circle here. Then if you have a look at this little zigzag where it goes pink and yellow zigzag, that's what this is here. So look, see it zigzag, zigzag as it goes kind of around our work. And the yellow is also zigzagging as well. See? Then we have our row of teal beads just as a ring. And then we have some polka dots at the top. So there is our ring getting towards the top. And then finally we have our little polka dots right near the very, very top of our work. See that? So it kind of all makes sense that this is the bottom. And then as you come out here, this is the top of our little egg shape. Now, the easiest way to work on one of these patterns, sure, you can do it very, very, very carefully and very closely by looking at it and going, okay, this one goes into here, then it goes here, and then we cross. This one goes there and there, and do it circle by circle by circle. But the easiest way to actually do it is when you write yourself a word chart. So I've given us a word chart already, but I'm going to explain how you can turn your chart like this into a word chart. So let's have a look down here. We're going to look at rows number 1, 2, and 3. So that's exactly the same diagram as what we have here. Circle number 1, circle number 2, and circle number 3 looks exactly the same as this. And I'm going to explain now how you can turn your chart into a word chart. So if we have a look, circle 1, first things first is you write yourself your little start bead, which in this case, you just examine what color have I made this one that has a star? Well, it's white. So here you can have a look. Color A is white. So let's write down start bead is color A. Then if we have a look, we have our left thread, which is the red one. And if we have a look, it starts here and it goes through this bead here, which is white. So we can say, okay, that's an A. And then it goes through another one just here all by itself. So let's write another A. And then here, you can see that red thread, it crosses over. So we'll get to that in a bit. So first we'll look at the blue thread, which is our right thread. And we go, okay, the blue thread goes through one color A bead. Then it goes through another color A bead. So we can write that down, A. And then if we have a look, it crosses through another A. So that gives you circle 1 is AA on the left, AA on the right, and then you cross through an A. Then if we have a look at our circle number 2, you can have a look. It starts here. The, the right thread is now over on this side. So if we have a look, that goes through a color B. So we write down B. Then we have color A. So we write down A. And then over here, it's an A again. We write down an A. And then have a look. We've got to our cross. So we don't need to write anything more down yet. Then if we have a look at this one, we don't actually have to add any beads in here before we get to the cross. So that's what this little symbol here means. So essentially we just go, yeah, just put a mark to know I don't need to add any beads. We're going to just straight go into what our cross bead is. And if we have a look in here, this is where our cross is. That's a color B. So we'll write that as a B. And if we have a look over here, the left didn't go through any beads. We just put our mark. Then the right, it went through a B, then an A, then an A. And then it crosses through a color B. Then we do number 3 just here, which this is the last one I'll explain. But first, I'll have a sip of water before I start coughing and dying. That's better. Then we have circle 3, which if we have a look, once we get to circle 3, it starts right here. And the red one, firstly, it goes through a color A. So we write down A. Then it goes to another A. So we go through an A just here. And then because we get to our cross, we'll wait. So now we'll look at our blue. The blue goes through a bead that we've already added previously. Now, to know if a bead has already been added previously, you just have to look if it's part of an earlier number circle. So look, this one, the circle is number 1. So we know we've already added circle number 1. This bead's already been added. Let's just put a dot. And every time you need to add, pass through a new bead, it's always going to be the one that's closest. So it's really easy to work that out when you're there at the time. You don't have to go, oh, is it an A, is it a B? It doesn't matter. It's always going to be the closest, easiest to find bead. So then, if we have a look, it crosses over here through a color B bead. So we write that in, and there you go. That gives you A on the left, pass through a previously added bead on the right, and then we're going to cross through a color B bead. So hopefully that sort of explains it. And as you can see, again, with your pattern, we've got the full word chart here explaining all of that. But also, if you get our free pattern, you get your blank one just here, and you've also got a do-it-yourself word chart where it's already organized. All you have to do is color in the letters. So you can see I've done it. There's a space there for the first letter, which in this one works out that it was a color A. So we write an A there. Here you'd write an A. Then if we look at the B, you can look, it was the same as before. We can go, yeah, okay, it went through an A, then it went through an A. So you can write that in. You don't need to write anything here, so I've already marked that as being one. Every time, it will always be that you don't have to pass through anything. So what do I need to do? Look here. Okay, yeah, fill those in. So it's all kind of there for you to write your own patterns when you've colored that in. So if you wanted to, which, do you know what? I'll do it very, very quickly just to make it apparent. We'll just do it with 2 colors. We'll say white is color A. So I can just leave that as white, and we'll say B is whatever this pen color is. And so here I can go, okay, let's make this one a B, and then this one can be a B, and this one will be a B. And that gives us sort of like a little bit of color here, a little bit color there, like polka dots. And then I'll just do it once more. We'll say both of these will be Bs as well. You can sort of just work out your pattern. But from this, you can then go, okay, circle number 1, the start bead is an A. So I'll just write down my start bead was an A. Then we come over here, and if you have a look, the first bead on the left was a B. Then it goes into an A. So if I turn that over, look, there's 2 spaces here. It was a B, because that's this color. Then it was an A. If we look back over here, this one is a B, then it's an A. So we'll write here on the right thread, B, then A. And then what color is it when we cross over? If we have a look just here, okay, the crossover for circle number 1 is here. That's a color B. So we'll write that in as our X bead. That's a B. Then if we look at row number 2, well, we already know that L or the left side thread, the red one, you don't add anything to that one just there. See, look, it's got nothing before the cross. So if we have a look, the red, you don't need to fill anything in. It was already written like that, so it wouldn't get confusing. And if we have a look, our B, our right thread goes, first it's an A, then it's a B, then it's a B. And if we check it just here, the crossover bead is an A. So we can go, oops, I'll just write that here, B, B, A, and an A. And this, once you've filled this in, obviously if you've got the pattern, you can just print this again and again and again and again and again, as many times as you need it, every time you want to color one in. And then if you have a look, oh, I did it the wrong way around, A, B, B. So I've written that wrong. So that should have been, I wasn't paying attention, should have been A, B, B, and then it crosses through an A. See, there we go. That's more accurate. So it's easy to just check them. If you make a mistake, you can just go through and go, yeah, is that right? No, actually, it isn't A, B, B. There we go. Done. And then you can just continue on doing your next circle, next circle, next circle, and fill them in as you go. So if you have a look, if you wanted to do something like this, well, we've seen how that works, and we have the word chart telling us how to do it all as well. Easy, right? Once you've got the hang of it, you sort of can understand that it just sort of breaks down into lots and lots of different smaller little diagrams where each one, of course, I dropped a piece of paper. Here it is, where each one is like a ring of circles. So you do this ring, then it's a ring of circles around it, and so on and so on and so on. So hopefully, if anyone has any questions, by the way, how was that for an explanation? I tell you, that was in depth. So hopefully you learnt and you enjoyed. And now we're actually going to do some beading, because the fun thing is that this style of beading, this sort of three-dimensional beading, you can actually do a lot of different things with it. Like, for example, around about Christmas time, I made this little guy. It's the exact same premise where you're making circles of beads, 4-bead circle, 3-bead circle, 4-bead circle, whatever it is that you're going to do. And you can make your little person even, or whatever shape it is, by combining those together. So anyway, I'm not going to show you how to make this. This was just something I made at Christmas time for a bit of fun. Right. Now, first thing that we're going to do is talk about what thread is actually best for a project like this. So now you can, if you wanted to, in terms of beads, you must use consistent size and shape. So use a brand. You can use Miyuki, you can use Toho, you can use Preciosa. It doesn't matter what brand you use. It's entirely up to you. As long you can use Delicas if you want to. As long as you use the same brand of beads in the same size, it will work very, very easily to give you those good shapes. If you're using inconsistent sized beads, you'll get really wonky looking work. So make sure that you are using consistent shape and size beads. Now, so I'm using Preciosa size 10s, for example. And so now, in terms of thread, there's two options. There's one which is monofilament, which is this clear stuff just here, which is a bit like fishing line, to be honest. You can use like a good quality beading monofilament, or if you have something to hand, you can use like a fishing line. I wanted to have a go at getting like a black one, but I couldn't get one in time. So I don't know if maybe I'll start this by using thread, and then we'll move on to using the monofilament. The monofilament will give you a much stiffer shape. So see how this guy like just holds his shape? That's because he's made with monofilament. If you were to use thread, it would be a little bit squishy, and so you need to fill your work with like either cotton wool or maybe some Glad wrap, saran wrap, cling film type stuff. You scrunch it up into a ball and you stuff it inside your beadwork to help it keep the shape. Yeah, to help you keep the shape as you're going. I'm trying to read comments at the same time. There's lots of comments going on. So anyway, once you've done that, I'll use my beading thread for the start process, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. And then I'm going to jump ahead and we'll be using some monofilament a bit later on. Now, someone said, if you're going to use fishing line, what diameter will work? Usually it's like a 6 or 8 pound fishing line, which is somewhere in the region of 0.3, 0.25 millimeter thickness that you would need. And that because you need it to go through the beads multiple times. Now, again, when it comes to needles, you either can do, if you use like a fishing line that's stiff enough, you don't have to use a needle. It works just as well to thread the beads on. It will certainly take you longer as well, but you don't have to have a beading needle. If you do have a beading needle, though, you'll need a nice fine monofilament, which you almost have to like squeeze the end or bite it or pinch it or something like that just to actually get it onto the needle. But once you have it on the needle, it's much, much easier. Like, for example, this one here, you can see, I'll thread it onto a needle just so you can see. What I do, which maybe is not the most hygienic, is I just use one of my teeth to just bite the end of it. And if we have a look just very closely, hopefully it will show it to you with focus. Come on now, come in focus. You can see it'll just sort of squish it that tiny little bit right at the very, very, very end. If you'd prefer to use a pair of, say, pliers rather than your teeth, you can try doing it with pliers, but you probably won't get it as flat as you will with your teeth because you can probably bite harder than you can squeeze with the pliers, I would think. But anyway, once you've done that, the needle does go on like so. But as I said, the needle is optional. And if you've got a bit of trouble pulling it through, again, you can always use your pliers to pull it through. But once you have it on, should be fine like that there. Welcome to Shannon, by the way, who says, hello from Clinton, Utah. So there we go. So that is how you get that on. Right. Let's actually begin now. I'm going to start with thread just so you guys can actually see what I'm doing at the beginning to get started. I've got a nice dark color just here, and then I'll jump to using some monofilament a little bit later. So first things first, here's a nice dark beading thread. It's always good to use a bonded beading thread just so it doesn't fray. But let's have a sip of water. And now we'll begin. So because I've got my multiple colors, I'm going to do it in just no color to start with. We'll move on to doing it with colors a bit later on. So first things first, you put a needle on both ends of your thread. I've only used a very small piece here, but if you want to do an entire earring, you probably need somewhere in the region of about 1.5 meters or a little bit less, probably 1.20 meters, maybe 1.5 yards, something like that is probably enough per earring. But I've got a very, very small piece just here, which you put a needle onto both sides. And essentially what we're going to do now, I'm going to jump between diagram and doing it in real life. And so what we're going to do is pick up our start bead. We're going to thread that to the middle of our thread. And then we're going to have 2 beads on one side, 2 beads on the other. And then we're going to cross over through 1 more bead. So first things first, I've got my beads just here. I've got them all in color order for a bit later. But anyway, first things first, we'll pick up our start bead. I'm going to just work in, do you know what? Let's work in white. Nah, we'll work in teal, maybe. Maybe it's a little bit easier to see if I work in teal. So let's just zoom in. We want to have 1 bead, which is our start bead, which is going to be right at the center of our thread down here. And then if you have a look, now it's like we have a thread coming out on the one side and another thread coming out on the left side. So you've got your left thread and your right thread there already, just by putting a bead at the center of your cord. So now let's go. I'll do each circle in a different color, actually, I think. So we'll go with 2 beads on one side, and we'll slide them down. 2 beads on my other needle, just here. Slide those down. And then we're going to do our crossover through 1 more bead. So let's pick up 1 bead. It doesn't matter if you do it on your left or if you do it on the right first, but essentially we're going to slide that down towards the middle, and then we're going to go through it. It's this endmost bead just here. And we're going to go back through it in the other direction with our other needle. So this thread goes up in this direction. So we're going to take this thread back in the opposite direction like this just here. See that? So one thread goes this way. This one is now going to go through it in that direction. And I'll make sure in a second that I've got it half and half. But when you pull that tight, that turns that into that nice little circle of 6 beads there. So just make sure, of course, when you do this, that your thread is equal on both the left and the right. You want to make sure you have the same amount of thread on both sides. Otherwise, you'll end up running out on one side and having way too much on the other. Make sure at this point that your threads are equal on the left and on the right. So that's number 1 just now made, just there. So we've done that. Now we're going to make circle number 2, which is going to sit above circle number 1. So we're going to come out of here, and our what is now our right side thread is going to go through having 3 beads, and this one is going to be just crossing over. Now, I'm going to tell you a tip a little bit later. If you're using monofilament, or if you're using like thread or something like that, to help you remember which is which. Obviously, you wouldn't be using a dark thread, so maybe this isn't going to work quite as nicely on a dark thread. But what you can do is just get yourself like a permanent marker, a marker pen, and you can just color the end of your thread just by, you know, sort of rubbing on it to change one side to be black and the other one to be just plain. Like what I've done on a piece which I'll be using later. If you have a look at that. I've just colored the end of my monofilament black so that I always know that this is my right side thread. So if ever I get stuck and I go, oh, which one was the red and which one was the blue compared to my diagrams? Well, there it is, colored in at the end. So that's a good little tip for if you want to try and remember which side is the blue thread and which one was the red thread. So since that's not going to matter too much with today's tutorial, what we'll do is now we'll use our white for circle number 2. So if we use that blue thread, that one had 2 beads on it. So we'll go 1, 1 and 2 on the one side, and a third, sorry, 3 on the top on the blue one, which if you look is here. So the blue one, oh wait, I need to put it back again. There we go. So the blue one, 1, 2, 3 beads, and then we cross over. We don't need to add any on the red, so we'll just pick up 3 on the one and then cross over. So we picked up 3 on the one side, and I'll slide them down. And now we'll do our crossover with a 4th bead. So we pick up our 4th bead that we'll cross over with. So we'll slide that down. We've got 3 on the one side. We've got 1 just here. And we'll cross through that to pull tight. And lo and behold, there's our next little circle coming out the top of our first one. See, same as our diagram. So now we want to do circle number 3 just here. So we're coming out this side. We want to pick up on what is essentially the outside thread, or the red one in this instance. We want to pick up 1, 2 beads, and then we're going to cross over into a third one here. This one here is going through a bead that's already been added. So we'll go through that one, and then again, we'll take them both through that one and cross over. So now, if we have a look, there's our little thing just here. One thread needs to go through the adjacent bead. So if we have a look, it's this one here, which if I'd painted the end, I'd easily know, yeah, it's this one, or yeah, it's that one, whatever. But since I haven't, I can tell already anyway, just by looking at how it was with the diagram. The one that's coming out towards the bottom goes through that bead that is right next to it. And so we'll pass through that bead there, like so. Just pull that one through. And now our other thread, we're going to match what we did with our diagram. So for circle 3, that was pick up 1, 2, and then we'll pick up a third bead that will cross through. So again, let's go with pink beads for our third circle, shall we? 1, 2 on this thread. We'll slide them down like so. And now we need a third bead that will cross over. So you can put that third bead onto either one of them. It doesn't matter which, but we'll slide that down. There's that third bead just here. So we'll bring it sort of where it's in position. We can cross through it like so. I'm trying to just show this to you as delicately as possible. This one, the thread is going in this direction. So this thread here goes in this direction. And then as we pull that through and we pull it nice and tight, you'll see, my work's flipped over, there we go. You'll see that that is going to add on our third little circle of 5 beads just there. So look at that. We have circle number 1, circle number 2, circle number 3 added in. Now let's just have a quick look at circle number 4. So if we have a look, this one here is the outside thread where we're going to pick up 2. So our blue one is here. The next one is a crossover. So this one here goes through the bead of our earlier circle, and then we'll cross over. So again, we can see that it will cross over. This one goes through the bead right near it. I'll zoom in a tiny bit so you can see. I'll try and keep it as steady as possible so it's easy to see what's going on. So pull through like so. So that one is now going through there. And then this one, like I said, because we want our circle to be 5 beads in total, this is already 1 and 2. And as per our diagram, we need 2 more and then a crossover bead. So let's pick up yellow this time. Let's go 1, 2, which are going to be the beads that are on the outside of that diagram. And then I'll also pick up that crossover bead as well. And we'll pull that down to here. And we'll take our other thread now. And it's going to go in the opposite direction through that last little bead, which was our crossover bead. See there? Through that one there, in the opposite direction. We'll pull it tight. And as that pulls, creates that next little circle. So now we have circle 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll do circle number 5, 6, and 7 very, very quickly. And I'll also show you number 8, just to sort of show you how you can get to the next sort of ring of circles. And then I'm going to jump ahead a bit. So now I wanted to make more for my, and now here's one I made earlier, but unfortunately I didn't have enough time, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, now what we'll do, this one here, it goes through, if we look at our diagram, we're on circle number 5. So if we have a look down here, we can see this one goes through the nearest bead, which if you have a look, those teal beads in the center are the ones from circle number 1. Our white beads are the ones from circle 2. The pink beads are the ones added for circle 3. Yellow ones are circle 4. So now let's do circle 5, which is here at the bottom. We're going to go through that bead from circle number 1, pick up some new ones, and then cross over. So now I wonder if I have another bead floating around. Oh, I got some mix. Let's use a pink or a different color. So here we are. Let's see if I can grab a few beads of the same color. I've got some orange ones that will do for now. So now this bead here is going to go through the bottom of circle number 1, same as before. I'm going to start picking it up so I can hold it in my hand a little bit easier. So that goes through the bead of circle number 1. Come on now. Trying to just do this. There we go. So we'll go through circle number 1's bead and pull tight. Now we'll pick up the beads for the new one, and then we'll do our crossover. So let's pick up 2 beads that are going to go on the outside, slide them on down to our work, and then we're going to do our crossover bead. So again, there's that one that will cross over, slide it down towards our work, and then we'll take our other needle, and we're going to go back through it in the opposite direction, like so, and we'll pull it tight. So just pull that through, and now ready? As we pull that tight, there's our next circle. So now we can continue. Let's do the next circle. Hopefully I've got another color. So this one here, this bead goes through circle number 1's bead again, like so. We're going to pull that through. And now with our other thread, we'll grab another color. Let's see, have I got enough beads of some various random color? Hopefully I've got enough. Yeah, I'll use these pinks. So I've just got lucky I have a little mixed bag of pink colors. So I'll pick up 2 of this pinky color here, so you can see which one is our next bead. I'll slide them down, and then we'll cross over through this bead. So this time I picked up the bead on through here just because, well, why not, you know? So you can pull that one down, and now this time we can cross through the bead here, and as we pull that tight, it should, hopefully, very nicely create the next circle. There we go. There's our next little circle here. Now we need to make our last circle. So this one is going to start to join our work together and sort of start bringing it in to sort of being that domed base shape. So first things first, we'll take this thread through, wait a second, let me just pick this up. This one here. So I'm going to just show you the diagram one last time, because this is how we're going to sort of almost enclose this final circle to make our last one. So if we have a look, what we're going to do is this process just here. We're doing circle number 7. And if you have a look, the one thread, which is sort of towards our inner circle number 1, is going to go through the bead of circle number 1 and also the bead of circle number 2 that is just after it. So that is going to bring us around to sort of joining these circles back to each other at the beginning, bringing it all into a nice row or like a ring of beads around that first circle. So this one's going to go through 2 beads. This thread on the other side is going to go through just 1 bead, and then we'll have our crossover. That still makes 5 beads for this circle, but we've only got to actually pick up 1 before we do our cross. So now, if we have a look at this little thread here, this one, which is sort of towards those other beads, is going to go through that one of circle number 1 and up through the one of circle number 2. And when you pull that tight, that just brings you into position to now do a crossover. So with our other thread, let's go with this red color thread. Why not? We'll pick that up. Then we'll pick up another red bead, which is going to be our crossover. I'll slide them down. And now we can go through that crossover bead in the other direction, like so. And then just as we're ready to pull it tight, here we go, ready? It'll just pull tight, pull tight, pull tight, and create that final little circle that will enclose that as a ring around our beads. Now, if you have a look, when I pull that tight, when you look at it from the side, it isn't completely flat. See that? It actually starts to be ever so slightly domed. See? So this is going to start giving us that nice shape that we want for the bottom of our little Easter egg. See how it's sort of domed at the bottom? That's just because the number of circles that we've done gives it that almost plate-like shape at the bottom. So now I'll do just one more on this sort of circular peyote bit. I'm going to maybe make just a mini egg just to show you how I can get to the top a little bit quicker. But essentially what we're going to do now is the first one on the next row outerwards. So on our big main image, we've done number 1, we've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to start working outwards, and then that's when we can start doing 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, etc. I'm only going to do 8. Maybe I'll do 9. We'll see. But we'll do 8 thereafter so that you can see where we're up to. So just taking ourselves from the center further out and make a ring. Then we're going to go out again and make another ring. So let's do that process now. So if I just rotate it to be the same as my diagram, it should be, flip that over. There we go. Remember how we did circle 1, circle 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, circle 7. So we'll make circle 8, which sticks out over here. These ones are just 4 beads. So technically that's a right angle weave that we'll be making. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about that. Just ignore that. You'll get confused maybe. So we're going to make a circle of 4 beads now. So what we'll do, I'm going to work back with my teal color, is if we have a look at that diagram again, if you have a look, 2 beads on that that right thread, the blue one, then we're going to cross over 1 bead. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 beads in that little ring. So let's go with 1 and 2 on this side. And we don't need to pass through any beads. We don't need to pick up any beads. We just have to cross directly over. So I'll pick up the crossover bead as well on this same needle. We'll slide it down. And we'll take our other thread back through that crossover bead in the opposite direction, like so. And as we pull that tight, that gives us the next little right angle weave sitting on the outside there. So there's the next one in position to do circle number 9, which, do you know what? I'll do number 9 just to make it a little bit easier. So number 9, again, we're exiting from over here. So number 9, this thread goes through a bead that we've already added. Technically, it's the one from circle number 2. Circle 2 was white, so we'll see that in a second. Then we're going to pick up a bead on this side, and then we'll do a crossover. So let's pick up, let's go with the highlighter pink again, just to make it a little easier. This one here goes directly through that little bead here. So through that one of circle number 2, through there, and pull through. And then this one, we pick up 1 bead, and we need to pick up 1 more bead to make our crossover. So this one is our bead, and this one is going to be our crossover bead. So slide them down towards your work, like so. And we'll take our other needle back through that final little crossover bead in the other direction, so that when we pull that tight, you'll see, look, pull, 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 pull. It creates that next one coming along. So you just continue now, and look, there you go. You can see we've got a little group of 4 beads there. So now you'd make another one and another and another and another all the way around, all the way around the circle as you go. So just keep going like that around your circle. And you weave, you make 10, and then you weave and make 11, and just make another circle of 4 beads, 4 beads, 4 beads, 4 beads, until you get to the point where you would be stepping outwards. And here we go. Here's one I made earlier, which is, funnily enough, at the point of this bit just here. It's done that first inner row of here. It's done through to circle number 19, and it's up to doing circle number 20. So if we have a look at that big main pattern, we can look at doing it in the pattern. I've also got my word chart, which will help. So if we have a look, circle number 20, I've done the other ones. So circle number 20 is this one here. You can see that this bead, the blue thread, which I painted the end, the tip, is going to pick up a pink bead and a yellow, and then we're going to cross through a white bead. This one will just go directly into the white bead, and they'll cross over. So exactly the same process as we have been doing, but we can see this one was my blue thread path that I painted the end of. So I know with this particular thread, I need to pick up one pink, which was here. Then I need to pick up a yellow, and then I'm going to cross through a white. So pick up a pink. Did I do it yet? Nope. Pick up a pink. Then pick up a yellow. And finally, I'll pick up a white because I can do it on the same thread. And I'll slide it down like so. I hope I've got this right. That would be terrible if I don't. Yes, I do. And we're going to cross over now through that white bead. So just pick up here. And as I pull tight, you'll see it crosses over through this white one, and it'll rotate around. There we go. And it's going to give me that next little group of 4 on the ring outside. So now I can do my next one. This thread here, I know the blue one is going to go through this bead, which is just adjacent because it's coming out the bottom just here. So I know the one that's coming out the bottom is almost always going to go through a previously added bead to help connect it. And then this one here at the top. So we're going to be doing circle number 21. So here's 20. We're going to do 21 now. So 21, that blue thread goes through that pink bead that I added earlier. The other one, I'm going to pick up a yellow, and then we're going to cross through a yellow, which on my word chart, if you have a look, row 21, the color is D. So row 21, the left thread, which was the red, goes through a D. The blue one goes through one we've already added, and then we cross through a color D. So exactly the same as what this says here. So there we go. The red thread goes through a D, and we cross through another D. So now that I've done that, we're going to pick up with my, I'll turn it over so that it matches how the diagram looks. Pop it up. There we go. So I'll pick up with my outside thread, which was my red one color D, then another color D, which is our crossover bead. So we'll slide them both down, and we'll take our blue thread, or which I know it is because it has that little black bit on the end there, in the opposite direction, through that bead. You can see already that the monofilament is a little bit more finicky. It's definitely, the thread is definitely much easier to work with, but you need to make sure you fill your work. So yeah, let's pull. And that closes that next little group. See that? So I'll continue now. I can be certain that this one is going to go through here, as it always does, pretty much. So we pull that through there. And if I look, I'm up to 22. I need to pick up a color C, which is a pink one. And then I'm going to cross over through an A. And you can even like sort of, if you want to speed your process up, actually, I won't do that just yet. I'll show you tricks for doing it quicker in a minute. Not just yet. Let's get doing a pattern perfect first. Does anyone have any questions? Are we all sort of starting to understand now? Hopefully. So anyway, now if I pull that tight, you'll see, if I can pick the bloody thing up. There we go. That'll pull, and make our next one. And which helps if you do that. So I've done, this was number 21. So I'll tick 21 on my paper. I can tick that off. I can go, yep, I've done 21. I've done 22, which is this one here. So there's 21. There's 22. 23 is here. And now I'll do number 24. So I know by ticking them off, I know, okay, I've done this one, I've done that one, I've done this one. I'm up to 24. So I know that one thread, which in this case is my red thread, I think, is going to go through this bead here. And look, if I pull this tight, you'll see that it definitely starts to like come inwards more. It's going to come even more and more domed and curved. Jane says, yes, I'm getting it now. Good. Gail says, I love the multicolored diagram. Don't forget, if you want to get this pattern and the full instructions, the whole thing, the whole shebang, you just have to make an order this weekend during our spring seed bead sale. For any seed beads, you will get the free pattern included. So now, where am I? Here we are. I need to turn this over. There we go. So that one is through there. And we're going to pick up a pink one, which is going to sit up there. And we pick up another pink one. I think. I'm not paying enough attention. Doesn't matter. So we'll cross those over now. Slide them down. And we'll do our crossover. Now, I'm not going to go too much further into this because you're sort of getting the gist of how it works. It's just super repetitive after this point. It's just continually doing the same thing again and again and again and again until you end up with the correct pattern starting to take shape. See? So we're getting our little zigzag happening, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Essentially, once you've done that, I'm going to sort of wrap it up here real quick. Once you've done that, eventually, by following the pattern, you'll make, here, look, there's another row of four beads. Here, they sort of alternate between, first you do a row of 5 beads, then you do a row of a circle of 4, circle of 5, circle of 4, circle of 5, and so on. Just slowly over time, it brings it all together until eventually you do your final row, which is circle number 68. And what we do here at that point, essentially doing circle 68 brings these final 4 beads together into a circle and closes the whole shape up. Now, don't forget, of course, if you do this with thread, you'll need to fill this up and poke some cling film, saran wrap for those of you in the US, inside if you want to do it with thread to help it keep its shape, or cotton wool maybe, something like that. And then essentially all you have to do to thread on your ear wire, I have it as a lovely diagram just here, is with those final 4 beads, when you're exiting from one of the 4 beads, you just go up and through your ear wire and down the bead on the opposite side, go through that bead on the other side, then back through your ear wire and back through that bead where you started. And you can just go back and forth a few times, and that will sort of lock that little ear wire onto the top of your earring like this, and you have that fun little piece sitting there at the top. Now, if you don't want to actually buy any seed beads and you just want to get our ginormous pattern here, which I've more or less explained. I mean, it has a lot of text to help you explain everything. I do have it on the website for sale as well. Everything that you needed to learn is all written down here, talking about choosing the right thread, coloring it in, doing the technique. All the diagrams are there. The full chart in the different colors. You've got the word charts as well, and the chart that you can fill in yourself. You can go and get that from the Bead Spider website if you want to. We do, of course, have our sale going on, which if you buy any seed beads, we don't care, even if it was just one packet of seed beads, you can have the pattern for free. You don't have to pay for it. It's completely free. So let's just show you the Bead Spider website for today so that I can explain it to you. The whole thing is automated now. I've tried to make it as easy as possible. If we head to the Bead Spider website today, ta-da, here's what it looks like today, which is the 28th of March, 2025. We have our lovely spring sale, 15% off seed beads just here, where you can get Miyuki, Preciosa, or Toho seed beads at 15% off. And even though it doesn't say it, you can also get the pattern for free. So if you just click on this ginormous Shop Now button, hopefully it will take you to where you can choose Preciosa if you want them, Miyuki if you prefer, or Toho. You make your choices. There's also some color palettes as well, which are quite nice. You'll also be included in with these as well. So you can go and grab those, and you can, get a discount on some nice color palettes that we've put together. But anyway, if we go back to the previous page, there's some nice Easter ones, by the way, actually. Yeah, I'll grab some Preciosa size 10s just here. This is what I've been working on today. If you have a look, there's plenty of different options. There's this one's our confetti mix. It's brand new. I really like this one. Brand new color. If you want to go and get our confetti mix, it's there. But otherwise, if you just choose even one color. So let's just say, do you know what? I like this purple just here. Let's just add that to the basket. I will show you exactly what happens. I hope this works. It's meant to work automatically. And if it doesn't, well, I'll have to look into it. But anyway, you can see, there you go. Look at that. It adds the deep lilac color. And for free, there's that earring pattern as well. So I'll have a look at the basket. Mini beaded egg instructions download. There it is. Instead of £6, you get it completely from free. So if you go view basket, look at that. 0, not a penny, not a cent, nothing. Of course, if you're in the US or in Europe, you can change your currency if it isn't automatically done and say, yeah, I want to shop in US dollars. Perfectly fine. Choose whatever colors you want. Now, Sandra says, would it make a good pendant? So, Sandra, that's the thing. It absolutely can make a great pendant. All you would need to do, let's just go back to the home page. Let's go and grab ourselves some, let's say, Miyuki size 8 seed beads. So Miyuki size 8s, the pattern will work exactly the same with the bigger beads. You will just get a bigger egg. So you can go, do you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to make a cream egg. So I'll add one of these ivory pearl salon colors. Let's add maybe this opaque columbine purple color. I'll add a packet of that. One packet is more than enough. You'll have so many left over. And then let's go with like a yellow or something like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And a teal, if you liked my colors, more or less. You can add it to your basket. It's all there. Wait a minute. View your basket. And there it is. Your pattern is there for free. Automatically added in for free. You don't have to. And you can make it bigger like a pendant. And instead of adding like an ear wire to the top, let's just show it to you here. What you can do right at the very top, instead of doing like a finding, you can just make like a little loop of beads that will attach to an, you could use like a large jump ring if you wanted to, which this is a really fun idea there from Sandra. Would it make a good pendant? Which was just here. There it is. Would that make a good pendant? I believe it would. Which Julia also said the microcrystals would be beautiful. Yeah, you could have a really, really sparkly egg. Might be a little difficult because the because the beads have quite small holes. But Jane says, I was going to ask if the pattern, if I can get just the pattern, as I have thousands of seed beads. Yes, it's on our patterns page. So if I just pop back to the website very, very quickly, I'll show you how you can find it. We have a lot of patterns. This is the 281st beading pattern. So if you have a look up here, kits and tutorials, I'm going to be doing a change to the menu sometime very soon, hopefully. But for now, kits and tutorials, patterns. And if we go to all patterns, you can get just this pattern, which includes, oops, where have I put it? Clearly it's a bit further down. Maybe I'll have to just search for it. I'll put it further up so that it's easier to find. But if you go and just type in mini egg, hopefully it should come up. Let's just wait till that loads. There we go. Mini egg beaded earring instruction plus DIY pattern download. Plus here's the video tutorial of what we've been doing today. The mini egg earring pattern. You can just search that in and it will take you to the page and you can get it on the website. You can just buy it. $8.25 it works out. If you're in euros, that would be $7.65, or it's US dollars. It equates, pounds. Pounds, it's six pounds, I think. There you go. And you can just add it to the basket if you would rather just get the pattern. You can do that. And then, as I said, it includes the one which I've been making, which is the lovely pattern just there, and also the completely blank pattern that you can fill in yourself and do your DIY word chart for as well. So all of that is included. Anyway, that's it for me for today. It's going to be Mother's Day here in the UK. So this Sunday, I know it's a bit later for you guys in the US, but my mother's not here, so I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm going to be kicking back and having a lovely weekend with Maxine, I think. I hope you guys learned something new. I hope you had fun. Once you've had a go at sort of doing this premise, I mean, it's literally the exact same techniques for making this guy here, which maybe I'll have to make it into instruction. He was really fun to make, this guy. He was like my learning this technique. I was like, I want to learn how to make things with three-dimensional beading. So I did a bit of experimenting and more or less came up with this guy. He was really fun to do. But anyway, hope you have a lovely, lovely weekend. Go and check out all of the different colors we have. I'm going to be putting onto the website even more seed beads coming this weekend. There is, I think, a whole load of restock. I can't remember if I put the restock on the website already or not. If not, I'm going to check that in 10 minutes, and there'll be even more seed beads that you can go and get. And hopefully this weekend, we've got a whole series of brand new Miyuki size 6 seed beads. So if you wanted to make an even bigger little mini egg, it would be the size of a real mini egg, I guess, the chocolates. They will be up on the website soon too. So anyway, thank you all very much for joining. I hope you had lots and lots of fun. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel as well if you haven't done so before. That always helps us out. It is very, very useful to us. I want to get to 100,000 subscribers so that I can get that silver YouTube plaque to stick on the wall. We're at 76. We're more than 3/4 of the way there. Help me get there by hitting the subscribe button. I go live every 2 weeks. As Eugenia pointed out at the start, clocks are going to change here in the UK. So the time might be a little bit different. So I'm going to do an email that says, it'll have a countdown timer. So you'll be able to work out exactly what time it will be for you where you live. But anyway, thank you all very much for joining. We still have Tiffany. She's here. She says, thank you. Actually, I'll pop up some comments. Here we go. Oh, I didn't realize I still had that one still showing. Sorry about that. Eugenia says, thank you, Matthew. I think I can start and even finish this in the future. Jan says, have a wonderful weekend all. I'll miss the next one, sadly, which is in 2 weeks' time. She'll be on a cruise ship. Sounds lovely. Happy Mother's Day, says Irina, to all of those in the UK. We already had it on the 25th. Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. It's already gone. Thank you from Tiffany. Thanks for joining us as well, Tiffany. Amber says thank you as well. We have Julia who said, thank you. This was wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed that one, Julia. Who else is still here? Comment in real quickly so that I can give you a shout out. Yeah, Jane says she wants a pattern for Feathers McGraw is his name from Wallace and Gromit. I hope you like that one. But anyway, Gail is still here, it looks like. We've got Jan and Jermaine having a lovely old chat. I should just keep going so they can keep chatting. Anyway, if you want to keep chatting like Jan and Jermaine are on the chat, if you check out the links in the description, down below if you are on YouTube, up above if you're on Facebook, we have a Facebook group that you can join where I think we have something in the region of about 50,000 people on our Facebook group. We have lots of free patterns on there, stuff like that. Betty Bennett is still here. Thank you for joining us, Betty. I'm glad you were able to join us, and I hope you had fun. Lovely to see you, and thanks for commenting in. Betty's usually one of the silent prowlers. I don't want to see any more silent prowlers. Be like Betty and comment in. That always helps. Sandra as well, she says, I think I'll have a go at a pendant. Probably even easier to do because it'll be a little bit bigger, but have fun. Thank you all very, very much for watching. I will see you in 2 weeks' time for another one. I have a video that's just a short from something I did recently that I intend to bring out sometime soon. So keep an eye out for that. There will be emails and stuff coming on of specials and things that we have upcoming. But I will see you in 2 weeks' time to make something lovely and nature-inspired. So that'll pique your interest, hopefully. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a lovely weekend and a lovely Mother's Day to all of you mothers in the UK as well, of course. And to my mother, because I guess, well, she's watching now, but I'm sure I'll chat to her on Sunday. Thanks for watching. See you later, and bye-bye.